Hey guys, Ben Dow here. Hey, I wanted to let you in on my story real fast as a transplant to St. Louis. So, the story is I was born and raised in California, San Jose, California, which I love, but it was very expensive. And my story was that my mom and my sister no longer live there, in our 20s. So I would every year I would have to rent out rooms, what they call house hack now. We just called it renting out rooms with friends or families, different families in the area. So I would always have to kind of rent out rooms and make ends meet, and people's life changes after the lease is up, and then I'd have to move again and again and again. So fast forward a little bit to my late 20s, and I got engaged. I met my wife, my now wife, there in San Jose, and then I wanted to raise a family and have a family. So we moved to St. Louis, which her family was here. So my in-laws lived here. So we thought that raising a family, it's good to have support. I didn't have any family in San Jose at that time. So I was kind of nervous, just like St. Louis. Like anybody from California, first of all, might not even know where St. Louis is or what state it's in. So when you're from California, you always think that you are the best. You don't think there's another place better than California. And it's expensive, but it's still, we're all gonna make it. But I didn't have the luxury of staying with my family, so I was like, okay, let's start a family, and I'm gonna move to St. Louis. The two things that I thought about before moving here that concerned me was, first of all, snow. How am I going to drive in the snow? Like, do you get stuck, and how do you even make it during those times? So I was really nervous about that, never having driven in the snow. And then also, like, is it like that bad? Is it safe? All that stuff that you hear. So those are my two concerns, definitely, coming here. So let me address that real fast. So St. Louis, it snows a little bit during the year, maybe about a week or so a year. But yeah, you don't drive that much, and of course you don't drive when it's like super snowy out there. You just kind of stay home, wait till the roads are plowed. The good thing is St. Louis does a good job of plowing and salting all that stuff. So usually you want to wait a day or two, and then you just drive real slow. It's not going to be super packed in the snow, and you don't want to drive far, right? So there's warnings everywhere. You just keep it low key when it's snowing for sure. And then also, is it safe? Is it safe? So just like any other city, there is a good and a bad side to the city, and there are certain areas that are not as great as most of St. Louis, right? So what you hear in the news is just kind of the bad side, like I kind of think of it as like I don't want to throw LA under the bus, but most people know LA, but LA has a lot of different pockets, and then like let's just say Compton used to be like known as really bad, but like it's not like you ever go to Compton or it's 45 minutes away. And in San Jose, there's a bad side of town. Um, but for the most part, you're in areas, uh, regular, normal areas, and you're not going to get mugged every corner or nothing like that. So any city, like I hear about Chicago, South Side Chicago all the time, and like if you're from Chicago, you're not going to those places. It's like a whole nother world. So St. Louis is pretty wide and spread out. So for the most part, you are never going to be in certain areas that have like high crime and stuff. So so you want to be in that. If you're in the medium home price or higher or a little lower, you're very safe. And I've never had trouble in my years here in St. Louis. But anyways, fast forward, I got married here, have two kids now, and what I really figured out and found out about St. Louis, that it is a gem of the Midwest. It is super family friendly, first of all. Amazing place to raise kids, even better than San Jose, I would say, for me, because there are so many free amenities, like the zoo, the science center, parks. I've been to a lot of cities in America, and most of the zoos are $20 or $30. So just having the zoo itself is amazing, and I've gone 100 times probably over the years. But overall, there's a lot of like festivals, outdoor stuff, just events that really cost low. You know, there is the Magic House, which is a gem, and the City Museum that costs a little bit, but compared to most cities, it's actually not as expensive, like $10 or something for admission on those. So check with your city on your science centers and stuff like that, and you'll probably see that St. Louis is a lot lower. And there's a lot of things too. There's not just two or three. There's, let's say, art museum. I said science center, Magic House, um, Union Station, ball games, parks over everywhere, and there's tons to do, you know, in the suburbs and bounce houses and trampoline parks and golf, mini golf, and there's just tons of things to do. Trust me, trust me. In St. Louis, there's so much to do, and it's family friendly and affordable. So that's number one, and that's important. I if you just pay, you know, a little bit over medium home price here, which is $220,000 or whatever, you are going to be in a pretty good school district. So I'm from San Jose, the East Side Union High School District, which at that time was not that great. You know, it's probably better now. But you know, I am now in one of the best school districts in Missouri, and most of the best school districts in Missouri are in St. Louis. So those include things like Lindbergh, Webster Groves, Kirkwood, Ladue, Clayton, Parkway, you know, Rockwood. So those are some things to look into when you go to St. Louis. If you're in those neighborhoods, you're good, you're safe. You have a pretty decent sized house. And St. Louis, another thing that I really like about it is like the traffic is not too bad. So I'm from the Bay Area, I'm from California. I know how bad traffic can be. And not that St. Louis doesn't have traffic, but overall it's not as stressful for me overall because the commutes and like I travel like a little bit before rush hour, going around to houses and properties and stuff like that. But overall, it just feels good to get around, and there's multiple highways and whatnot. There are no tolls, anything like that. So it's actually fairly easy to get around. It's fairly easy to get around compared to most big metros that I've been to, for sure. So overall, that is a few things about St. Louis that I really like as a transplant. And to be honest, I would rather live in St. Louis than in California at this point in my life. You know, so I would say for families, growing families, it's really great. Um, Maybe if you are a young 20s, young professional, single type of person, some people say St. Louis is not as great as whatever Texas, DC, California, but overall there is a pretty good scene, you know, of like just things to do for young people as well, as far as like strips and hangout places. And of course, it's affordable, and you can actually afford your own apartment, which I couldn't do in San Jose, California. So overall, that's my take so far. I've been here for over 10 years now, and just wanted to let you know about my experience as a transplant.